My cold roommate, Caleb, loves giving me milk to drink. The only problem is, every time after I drink it, I either wake up with a sore mouth or my whole body feels tired and achy. I started getting suspicious. That night, I secretly poured out the milk he gave me. But in the dead of night, my cold roommate stealthily climbed into my bed anyway. So, let's dive into this steamy story. Ouch! What the hell? It was painful. I couldn't remember how many times I'd woken up with the inside of my mouth stinging as if I'd swallowed broken glass. I was used to it by now. Miserably, I clutched my mouth and walked to the bathroom. Standing in front of the sink, I faced the large mirror, turned on my phone's flashlight, and opened my mouth wide. Just as I expected. Near my throat, on the roof of my mouth, was a small patch that was redder than anywhere else. It was raw again. What's wrong? Caleb, on his way to brush his teeth, saw my strange posture at the doorway and asked. I think I have a canker sore again, I mumbled, cupping my cheek with a pitiful voice. Caleb sighed and shook his head, a look of helplessness on his face. Finish washing up and come out. I'll put some medicine on it for you. Faced with my cold roommate's kind offer, I nodded gratefully. As I brushed my teeth, I took a sharp breath of cold air and thought to myself, Caleb is so good to me. He's the campus god, a top student, and one of the most handsome guys at school. Not only does he thoughtfully warm up milk for me every 3 days, but he also applies medicine whenever I get mouth sores. He was nothing like the cold, arrogant person everyone said he was. He was clearly just cold on the outside, but warm on the inside. As I thought this, a light bulb went off in my head. My toothbrushing paused. Why did I always seem to get these sores right after drinking his milk? It happened last time, and the time before that too. Could Caleb's milk have side effects? Are you done yet? Before I could think it through, Caleb's impatient voice called out. I quickly spat out the foam, hastily washed my face, and rushed out. Coming. When he saw me, Caleb's dark eyes met mine. He tilted his chin towards the chair in front of him, ordering, sit. I scurried onto the chair and obediently opened my mouth, waiting for him to apply the medicine. Seeing how docile I was, Caleb seemed a little pleased, the corner of his pale lips curving into a slight smile. He poured the medicinal powder onto his index finger, then curled his other index finger and placed it inside my mouth to prevent me from accidentally biting down. He leaned in, his expression focused as he looked at the raw spot and guided his long, slender finger inside. The cool powder touched my wound. I reflexively wanted to swallow, but his cold fingertip pressed my tongue down. Don't swallow, Caleb warned softly. It heals faster this way. Unable to move, I could only blink to show I understood. Caleb's fingertip gently rubbed against the sore. It tickled. I shivered slightly, and saliva uncontrollably dribbled from the corner of my mouth. Caleb didn't seem disgusted at all. He didn't rush to pull his finger out, simply saying, wait for the medicine to absorb. I blinked again. By the time it was over, my chin was wet with drool. When Caleb finally withdrew his finger, a thin, silvery thread of saliva connected it to my lips. His gaze instantly darkened. My face flushed crimson, and I scrambled to grab a tissue to wipe his hand. Hurry, wipe it off. No rush, Caleb said, taking the tissue from me. Let me clean you up first. He meticulously wiped the drool from my chin before straightening up and slowly cleaning each of his fingers. Caleb. Once he was done, I hesitated, wanting to voice the suspicion in my heart. What is it? Caleb raised an eyebrow, seeing me falter. Nothing. I immediately deflated, swallowing the words I had prepared. Caleb is so good to me, how could I suspect him? Even if there were side effects, he definitely wouldn't know about them. Having already made an excuse for him, I decided I would just have to test it myself next time. 3 days later, I lay in bed, anxiously waiting for Caleb to bring me my milk. He was truly a thoughtful roommate. Ever since I told him I had bad insomnia, he took on the task of warming milk for me. He was very consistent, once every 3 days. It was said to be great for sleep. And it was true. Every time I drank his milk, I slept deeply and soundly. My insomnia had improved significantly. The only catch was that I always woke up with a sore back and aching waist. I used to think it was from oversleeping, but now I suspected it was another side effect of this special milk. I lay in bed with the curtain drawn, constantly checking the clock. It was 9 p.m. Caleb would be here with the milk soon. Sure enough, a moment later, a dark shadow fell upon the thin curtain. Caleb's cool voice followed. "Leo, time for your milk." "Okay." Because I was about to do something sneaky, his voice made me jump. "I'm changing my underwear, can you just pass it to me?" I didn't pull back the curtain, only sticking my hand through the gap. Hearing that I was changing, Caleb's fingers twitched, but he didn't object and placed the warm cup in my hand. I carefully brought it inside, making sure the curtain didn't open. Then, I took a pre-prepared flask and carefully poured the milk into it. To make it look real, I left a little bit in the cup and took a tiny sip, making sure to leave a lip print. Then, I peeked my head out and handed the cup back. "Thanks for the milk." Guilt and nervousness made me flash an appeasing smile, my dimples showing. Caleb's dark eyes suddenly turned dangerous. He stared at me as he took the cup and began meticulously examining it. A cold sweat broke out on my back. Was I caught? But unexpectedly, Caleb simply traced the mark my lips had left and drank the rest of the milk himself. "Don't waste it," he said. I breathed a sigh of relief. Without the milk's effect, my insomnia returned with a vengeance. I shut my eyes, but sleep wouldn't come. It was late, and my other two roommates were snoring in harmony. I lay stiffly in bed, growing more anxious by the minute. I started counting sheep. I had just reached sheep number 200 when a rustling sound came from Caleb's bed. My fading consciousness was instantly pulled back. What's he getting up for? To use the bathroom, probably, I answered my own question. Caleb slipped on his slippers. The sound of his footsteps echoed, but instead of heading to the bathroom, they stopped right in front of my bed. I snapped my eyes open. The moonlight was bright tonight, and the blurry shadow cast on my curtain confirmed that Caleb was standing right there. What was he planning to do? I was completely bewildered. "Leo." Caleb's cool, clear voice in the dark night was like a demon's enchanting whisper. What on earth does he want? A little curious, I didn't answer, quietly closing my eyes and pretending to be asleep. "Leo," Caleb called again. Hearing no response, a sick, twisted smile finally graced his lips. He pulled back my curtain and climbed in. The dorm beds were standard singles, but mine felt even smaller because a giant, 5-foot teddy bear took up half the space. The bed was far too small for two grown men. With Caleb in it, the cramped space immediately became suffocating. He wrapped his arms around me tightly, buried his face in my neck, and took a few deep breaths as if he were huffing catnip. Then he spoke in a pitiful voice. "It's been 3 days since I could touch my Leo. I've been suffering." My Leo? Caleb's intimate nickname made my ears burn. But what did he mean? He was suffering because he couldn't touch me. Was he some kind of cat demon in human form who needed to sniff people to survive? My mind wandered, but I couldn't exactly open my mouth to ask. So annoying. After rubbing his fluffy head against my neck for a while, Caleb seemed to have finally gotten his fix. He lifted his head, his usually cool and handsome face flushed an unnatural red, but I was completely unaware. In the darkness, Caleb suddenly turned on his phone's flashlight, squeezed my cheeks, and forced my mouth open. Seeing the wound was still red and swollen, he was clearly irritated. "Tisk, why isn't it healed yet? My Leo is so delicate." Hearing him call me delicate made my ears burn even hotter. Delicate? It's because it keeps getting torn open that it won't heal. So this is what Caleb thought of me behind my back. Now I was a little pissed. After checking the wound and not getting the answer he wanted, Caleb turned off the flashlight and the room plunged back into darkness. Whatever. Since you gave me such a pretty smile today, I'll let you off this time. I'll just have to use another place. As Caleb spoke, he nuzzled my cheek with his cool, straight nose, and his warm lips landed on the corner of my mouth. Before I could even figure out what another place was, that other place already knew. It was very hot, but I broke out in a cold sweat. My mind instantly cleared. Caleb was gay. It happened so suddenly. Thanks to my superhuman self-control, I managed to keep a sliver of rationality and swallowed the scream rising in my throat. The news that Caleb was gay was too much to handle. Although there were a few guys mixed in with the dozens of girls who pursued him, I'd never seen him react. In fact, he seemed so disgusted by them that I'd mistaken him for being homophobic. So what was this? My mind was a mess, but I didn't dare push him away or scream and let the other roommates know. I didn't want to have a falling out with Caleb, nor did I want others to look at him strangely. The mere thought of them ostracizing him made me feel a little upset. Caleb was too good to me. Even if he had an ulterior motive, I couldn't bear to hurt him. I had no choice but to endure it. It's okay, Leo, I encouraged myself. At worst, I just won't drink the milk he gives me next time. Caleb is such a good guy. Just think of it as brothers helping each other out. A good deed. But I wasn't actually asleep. Caleb seemed very skilled at this. Several times, I almost couldn't hold back a scream, gritting my teeth to endure it. But touching that place was going too far. Finally, I couldn't help but let out an involuntary, soft moan. Caleb's movements stopped. Leo. He narrowed his eyes, his dark gaze fixed on my sleeping face. In my mind, I was praying to every deity I could think of. Whoever is listening, please protect my humble life. I, Leo, kowtow to you all. Seeing my sleeping form, Caleb thought he might have misheard, but he was still suspicious. The flashlight came on again. I keenly sensed that he was about to pry my eyelid open. What are your eyes supposed to look like when someone pries them open while you're asleep? I was panicking because I had no idea. What do I do? What do I do? Caleb's hand got closer and closer. Under immense pressure, I chose to escape. I smacked my lips as if in a restless sleep and turned over to face away, dodging his approaching hand. Caleb's hand froze in midair. A dead silence. My acting must have been decent enough. Restless sleepers do things like that. He probably didn't suspect anything. I desperately tried to console myself. In the prolonged silence, Caleb suddenly let out a soft chuckle. He leaned in close again, nuzzling my cheek with his nose, then gently licked the shell of my ear. Leo, you've been so good today. The words "so good" were spoken in a lingering, seductive whisper from his lips. But I felt no tenderness, only goosebumps. I had a feeling that his words held a hidden meaning. Did he find out? No, he couldn't have. I prayed silently. Thankfully, after saying that, Caleb got up and left. With his task unfinished, the sound of a shower started in the bathroom. Whether he knew or not, at least he was gone. I sighed in relief, but I also knew that sleep was now completely out of the question for the night. The next day, looking at my ghastly reflection in my phone screen, I slapped my cheeks to psych myself up, forcing a bright smile. If I went out like this, it would be like screaming. That's right, I wasn't asleep. I know exactly what you did last night. No. I shook my head, banishing the thought. I couldn't let him find out. I sat on my bed, took 2 deep breaths, then finally pulled back the curtain and stepped out. Caleb was sitting at his desk. When he saw me, his deep, well-like eyes turned to me. I put on that same appeasing smile. Caleb, good morning. He replied, neither warm nor cold. He stared at me for a moment, his gaze making my skin crawl, before he finally turned back to his phone. Escaping his gaze, I practically fled into the bathroom. I never realized how terrifying Caleb's stare could be. No wonder all the people who confessed to him and got rejected never tried again. I splashed cold water on my face. I couldn't let my fear show so obviously. I prepared myself mentally, and after washing my face, I took heavy steps out of my safe haven, the bathroom. All washed up. Caleb saw me come out. His long, fair fingers put down his phone as he casually picked up the small medicine bottle from his desk. Time for your medicine. No need. I jumped in fright, the refusal blurting out reflexively. Before, I didn't know Caleb's true intentions, but now, looking back on all our close contact, it all felt wrong. No wonder Finn kept saying we were too intimate. I just never paid attention. My sudden outburst made Caleb pause, his already handsome and distant face growing colder. Realizing I had overreacted, I quickly tried to salvage the situation. No, it's okay, thank you. It's healed. Really? Caleb asked, narrowing his eyes. Yes, 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 really. I nodded frantically. I'm not lying, it's all better. It doesn't hurt anymore. The medicine always makes me uncomfortable, so I don't want to trouble you this time. I'd found a great excuse, half true, half false, and delivered it with utmost sincerity. To make him believe me, I straightened my back and met his probing gaze head-on. Is that so? Well, that's good, Caleb sneered. I hope you're not avoiding me for some other reason. How could I? Caleb's words had a hidden meaning, and I rushed to deny it. Seeing the doubt still lingering in his dark eyes, I took 2 steps forward, hugged him, and nuzzled my head against his chest with a slightly whiny tone. You have to believe me. You and I are the closest in this whole dorm. I couldn't help it. Whenever I felt guilty, my first instinct was to be submissive. Seeing my slightly unusual behavior, a flicker of coldness passed through his eyes, but it was gone in an instant. He casually patted my head. Well then, I hope you mean it, Caleb's voice softened. I seized the opportunity, spewing a stream of sweet nothings. Only when the corners of Caleb's mouth curved into a faint smile did I finally close my tired mouth. Phew, that crisis is probably averted, I thought. Even though that incident was over, I couldn't go back to being completely normal with Caleb. I was a straight guy after all. That kind of overly intimate stuff. I really couldn't handle it anymore. I tried to avoid it when I could, but I couldn't just reject him outright. So, I ran away. I made up a random excuse about a friend visiting and stayed out of the dorm for 7 days straight. To make it more believable, I posted updates on social media every day. It wasn't until my poor friend, who I dragged into my mess, couldn't skip his major specific classes anymore that I finally slunk back to the dorm. The moment I opened the door, I wanted to turn around and bolt. The other guys weren't there. Only Caleb was sitting alone at his desk, playing on his phone. The lights were off. The room was dark, with only the faint glow from Caleb's phone illuminating his pale, handsome face. Those 2 lazy pigs in our dorm wouldn't move even if an earthquake hit. How could it be so coincidental? I'd even deliberately chosen to come back at night. I didn't blame Caleb for being alone. Instead, I silently cursed our other 2 roommates for a full minute. I'll get the lights. I asked with a smile, why are the lights off? Caleb lazily glanced up at me before looking back down at his phone. He didn't answer my question, only asking one of his own. You're back. Yeah. Seeing Caleb's demeanor, a lump formed in my throat. His state was very off. He was too calm, so calm that even his usual icy aura was gone. But since he didn't say anything, I didn't know how to ask. I just had a feeling something bad was about to happen. So, I quietly put my things down and sat at my desk. Are you that close with that friend of yours? I thought the silence would last all night, but I had barely sat down when Caleb spoke. I carefully glanced at his expression. He wasn't looking at me. His long, fair thumb and index finger were swiping across his phone screen, zooming in and out. I had no idea what he was looking at. We're all right, I swallowed and gave a neutral answer. All right. Caleb snorted. Somehow, I don't think it's just all right. Didn't you say you were closest to me? When have we ever gone out together for fun? Hearing my answer, Caleb's calm facade finally cracked. It was the first time I'd ever seen the stone-faced Caleb say so much. I was stunned, my mouth hanging open, unsure of what to say. The atmosphere instantly turned icy. Just then, Finn pushed open the door, backpack slung over his shoulder. Seeing me, he raised an eyebrow, his tone cheerful. Yo, you're back. Have fun. Yeah, it was fun. I quickly replied. Finn's appearance was like a timely rain shower, instantly breaking the stalemate. A friend in need is a friend indeed. A theme song started playing in my head. I completely forgot that just minutes ago, I had been mentally cursing his entire family tree. Seeing Finn, Caleb shifted his gaze and didn't press the issue further, though his thin lips were pressed into a tight line. Caleb, what's up with you? Why the long face? Finn was the oblivious type. Seeing Caleb's dark expression, he immediately asked what was wrong. I was deceived, Caleb replied coldly. Deceived by who? Finn asked, confused, turning to me with questioning eyes. Though my heart was as clear as a mirror, I pretended to know nothing and shook my head. Seeing no one would answer, Finn knew it was pointless to ask. He shook his head. Tisk, TSK. Heroes have always struggled to resist a beautiful woman. I bet our handsome Caleb got played by a girl. My face flushed red from my neck to my ears. The brotherly bond one had just formed with Finn instantly shattered. I went back to cursing his family in my head. Beautiful woman, my ass. First, I'm a guy, a pure-blooded man. Second, Caleb definitely doesn't like me. He just likes men, and he and I are close. He was just jealous, the way friends get jealous. Honestly, I was great at hypnotizing myself. The drama was over. It was almost 9 p.m. I thought to myself that after not having milk for so long, Caleb would surely bring it up. I had my refusal all prepared. Unexpectedly, Caleb just climbed directly into his own bed. Leo, you heading to bed? I'm turning off the lights, Finn said, standing by the light switch. Oh, okay, I quickly agreed. It wasn't until the room was pitch black that I realized there would be no milk tonight. I pouted, a sudden wave of self-pity washing over me. A single tear unexpectedly escaped from the corner of my eye. I froze, wiping it away, foolishly asking myself, what's wrong with me? I'm probably just thirsty, I thought. Not having milk anymore wasn't the serious problem. The serious problem was that Caleb was now ignoring me. Because of my poor sleep quality, I always woke up late. Every day, Caleb would wake up early, wash up, then call me to get up so we could go to class together. But when I woke up today, Caleb was already gone. Finn stood beside me, calling, lazy pig, the sun's already shining on your butt. If you don't get up, you'll be late for class. I groggily came to my senses and looked at the clock. It was 7:30. Caleb had indeed left early. My heart felt like it was encased in ice. It wasn't just for class. After class and even for meals at the cafeteria, Caleb didn't want me anymore. The moment class ended, he would grab his bag and leave, giving me nothing but his cold back. Even the thick-skinned Finn finally noticed something was wrong. Did you two have a fight? Yeah, I nodded bitterly. The sudden question made all my pent-up grievances surge, and tears started streaming down my face like rain. Hey, don't cry. Finn panicked, quickly handing me a tissue. I sobbed while wiping my tears. What do I do? I think Caleb hates me now. As an outsider, Finn was completely lost. He had no idea what the conflict between us was about. You need a cause to solve a problem. So Finn asked, why? I paused for a moment. I think he thinks I lied to him. Oh, so he was talking about you yesterday, Finn realized. Well, did you lie to him? No. I was afraid of being misunderstood and quickly waved my hands. I didn't lie to him. Everything I said was true. Then just explain it to him, problem solved. Explain? I was stunned. That's right, explain. Caleb is so good to me, he'll definitely forgive me. The sudden cold shoulder from Caleb had made my brain short-circuit. I slapped my own slightly idiotic head. Leo, you're such an idiot. Having figured it out, I cheerfully ran towards Caleb and tugged on the hem of his shirt. What? Caleb turned around, still with that same cold expression. The tears I had just stopped started falling again. I'm sorry, Caleb. You really are my best friend. I won't hang out with them anymore. Can you forgive me? It was the first time Caleb had ever seen me cry. The coldness in his eyes instantly vanished, replaced by panic. He pulled me into his arms. Leo, don't cry. As long as you mean what you say, it's okay. I sobbed and nodded. And just like that, Caleb and I were back to normal. I was so happy I spent the next few days grinning like an idiot. But I had a small problem. Should I be honest with Caleb and tell him I knew the secret about the milk? The thought made my grin disappear, and I let out a soft sigh. Seeing me alternate between goofy smiles and sighs, Finn shivered. Are you schizophrenic? He finally asked. Faced with Finn's misunderstanding, I shook my head, feigning depth. You wouldn't understand. I think you're just crazy, Finn said, brushing off his goosebumps and laughing at my theatrics. I was too troubled to argue with him. As they say, what you think about by day, you dream about by night. And sure enough, Caleb brought up the milk again that day. But he didn't hand it to me. He placed it on the table and looked at me. Do you want to drink it? It was too soon. I had been wrestling with this for days and still hadn't made a decision. I stammered. I don't know. I didn't know if I should tell him I knew everything he'd been doing. It's just a cup of milk. What's with all the I know, I don't know? You're being so dramatic. Finn, still annoyed by me saying he wouldn't understand, was now extremely irritated by my indecisiveness. He snatched the cup from the table and chugged it down in one go. My pupils contracted as I looked at Caleb. The milk is gone, what now? But until the last drop was gone, Caleb showed no reaction, as if he had silently consented to Finn's action. That was my milk, I protested silently in my head, suddenly regretting my earlier hesitation. That night, lying in bed, I worried. Finn drank the milk. Will Caleb go to Finn now? Already an insomniac, my worried mind made sleep even more impossible. I focused, my ears straining to hear any movement from Caleb's bed. Again, it was the middle of the night. Everyone else was asleep. I heard a rustling from Caleb's bed. I yanked my curtain open and whispered accusingly, "What are you doing?" Caleb's movements paused. He didn't seem surprised that I was awake, just raising an eyebrow slightly. Going to the bathroom. My face flushed. Oh, okay. Be careful. He gave a slight nod in acknowledgement, got up, and went into the bathroom. The sound of the toilet flushing was followed by Caleb's footsteps again. But they stopped in the middle of the room. My heart clenched. Is he going to Finn's bed? He wouldn't, right? I'm his best friend. If he wants to do that, he should come to me first. Besides, Finn is all muscle while I'm soft. If Caleb just asked me nicely, I might reluctantly agree to help him. There's no need to drug me with milk. My thoughts ran wild. Unsure of what Caleb would choose, my heart was a nervous wreck. After a long moment, Caleb finally moved. He took 2 steps to my bed, pulled back the curtain, and pinned me down. In the darkness, Caleb's eyes shone brightly, his eyes curved into a crescent moon shape. The moment he was on top of me, I couldn't help but want to grin. But that would be too stupid, so I just celebrated silently in my heart. He looked at me for a moment, then rested his delicate chin on my chest before speaking. What were you thinking about just now? I wasn't thinking about anything. Seeing Caleb up close in the dark for the first time, it was against the rules. His shadowy features had an incredible pull. I licked my slightly dry lips. I kind of wanted some milk. Lying again, Caleb said, tapping my nose with his fingertip. Were you afraid I'd go to Finn? Don't lie to your heart. Hearing him call me a liar made me tense up. I couldn't fool Caleb. He would get angry. So, I suppressed my shyness. Yeah, I don't want you to go to Finn. Caleb smiled, his lips forming a gentle, handsome curve. My heart soared. He always said my smile was pretty, but his was clearly the more captivating one. You didn't drink the milk last time, did you? My soaring heart plummeted back to earth. Afraid he would blame me, I quickly explained, I only didn't drink it because I thought it had side effects. My mouth got raw every time I drank it, but you were so good to me. I couldn't continue because Caleb started shaking with laughter. His low chuckle made my chest ache. What are you laughing at? His laughter was so obvious. I felt a bit of anger from the embarrassment and glared at him. I'm laughing because my Leo is so adorable. I like it. I like it a lot. Like it a lot. It was like fireworks exploded in my heart. What kind of like was Caleb's like? Was it the most like? Was it a like that surpassed his like for anyone else? Was Caleb's like for me bigger than my like for him? I didn't know the extent of his feelings, but I was no lunge. Or angry, just happy. Caleb finally finished laughing and got serious. So, now that you know, what are you going to do? Run away from me again? Ugh. Even though I was happy, Caleb always asked questions that were hard for me to answer. But he said he liked me a lot. After a long hesitation, I made up my mind. I won't run away from you anymore. I said firmly, Caleb, you are my best friend. I like you a lot too. If you have needs, I can help you. I don't know if it was my imagination, but I felt like after I said we were best friends, Caleb froze. The smile on his face stiffened. The happy atmosphere turned strange again. Leo, you idiot, you said the wrong thing again. I wanted to cry, but had no tears. But I also said I liked him a lot, so why wasn't he as happy as I was? Caleb sighed. Really? Leo, just because I'm your best friend, you're willing to do all that for me. To make him as happy as I was, I nodded affirmatively. Yes. But Caleb didn't seem satisfied with that answer. Leo, listen carefully. I'm going to ask you one more time. Caleb took a deep breath. What if I told you that I have a skin hunger condition? If you agree, I might pull you into doing that every day. Can you still accept that? Hearing him say every day, I swallowed nervously, but wanting to make him happy, I still nodded firmly. I can accept it. And you're really only doing this because I'm your best friend? Yeah. Fine. Caleb's eyes went completely cold. Then let's start today. Is the sore in your mouth healed? I nodded. Then let's begin. This time, it was torn even worse than before. I was hunched over the familiar mirror in the bathroom, pulling my mouth open to look inside. It was a complete mess. Caleb leaned against the door frame with his arms crossed, coldly watching me inspect the damage. Sorry. When my Leo said I was his best friend, I couldn't control my strength for a moment. You're not mad at me, are you, Leo? I cupped my cheek and shook my head. No. It'll heal in a few days. You really are my best friend. Caleb got weird again. I was at a loss, but I was too dense to figure out what was wrong with him. I could only look at him with a confused expression. Caleb snorted coldly and walked away. After Caleb told me about his condition, I discovered he really did have a condition. He seemed to be able to act up at any moment, pulling me into some secluded corner. He thought they were secluded, but I didn't think so. Every time in the dorm bathroom, I almost screamed, biting my lip until it bled. The scariest was the small grove behind the school. Every time footsteps passed by, I felt like we were about to be discovered. I was terrified that one day, what we were doing would be exposed to everyone. But Caleb didn't seem scared at all. Sometimes I even thought he did it on purpose. Because every time I gave him an accusing look, he would just smile nonchalantly. We're just doing things that best friends do together. Isn't this normal? His one sentence left me speechless. But even though I was worried about being caught, I was also very happy doing such intimate things with Caleb. I felt like a tangled ball of yarn, so messy, so complicated. I couldn't think it through, and my head hurt. But I was good at being lazy. If I couldn't figure it out, I just stopped thinking about it. I sat on a campus bench, quietly closing my eyes and enjoying the warm spring afternoon sun. This brief moment of joy was thanks to Caleb going to the convenience store. Suddenly, a shadow fell over me, blocking my sunlight. I opened my eyes. It was a cute, round-faced girl with a ponytail. Leo, hi. Hi, what's up? I was a little surprised, but also happy to be spoken to. These days, I was always sticking to Caleb in case he had a flare-up, so I had almost no social interaction. If I didn't talk to other people soon, I felt like I would devolve. The girl shyly held out a love letter. I found your contact info and tried to add you, but you didn't accept, so I had to do this. After you read it, if you're not interested, please make sure to burn it. She said it all in one breath and then ran away, embarrassed. For me, my first ever love letter. I looked at the pink envelope and grinned from ear to ear. I carefully tucked it into my backpack, planning to savor it later. I turned around and saw Caleb standing behind me, holding 2 sodas, looking very calm. You accepted it? Yeah. In my heart, I wanted to accept it, but seeing Caleb's expression, I added an explanation. She ran away too fast. Caleb took a deep breath. He suddenly felt like I was really going to be the death of him. He stayed calm for a long moment, suppressing his anger. Do you think it's appropriate? Initially, I didn't see anything inappropriate, but looking at Caleb now, I suddenly felt it wasn't very appropriate at all. Caleb seemed to see right through me. Leo, I'm asking you one last time. Besides being best friends, what other relationship is there between us? After saying this, he looked at me with a sliver of hope. What other relationship? I was dumbfounded. I help you with your condition. Caleb's hope shattered. You're really something, Leo. Caleb's anger could no longer be contained. A vein throbbed at his temple. He shoved a soda into my hand. From now on, I don't need you to help with my condition anymore. You're on your own. I held the soda, confused, watching Caleb's retreating back. I had clearly indulged him in everything, so why did it turn out like this? Caleb really didn't need my help anymore. He got a girlfriend and spent every night out with her. Today was the same. Caleb came back to the room, didn't even glance at me, packed a few sets of clothes, and left with his backpack. The thought of Caleb doing those intimate things with his girlfriend made my heart ache with a nameless sorrow. But if you asked me why I didn't want him to, I couldn't say. Depressed, I started picking at my nails again. Lately, new wounds were piling on old ones. Today, I finally picked at my finger until it bled. Finn saw my dejected state and shook his head with a TSK. All right, stop picking at it. The state of your relationship changes faster than my bank balance drops. Tell me, what is it this time? I shook my head, unable to speak. Stop shaking your head. Aren't you just jealous? Hearing Finn say I was jealous, I shot up from my chair, frantically denying it. No. I mean, I like Caleb, but we're just a little closer than most, that's all. Right, Finn said, laughing in exasperation. You're not jealous? Fine, I'm jealous. How about that? Are you gay? I was confused. I didn't know you were gay, Finn. And you like Caleb? Yes, Finn said, completely done. I'm gay. You two aren't. I really shouldn't have gotten involved. He went back to his game. And I started thinking, am I jealous? Why am I jealous? I'm Caleb's best friend. She's Caleb's girlfriend. Why would I be jealous of Caleb's girlfriend? Could it be I want to be Caleb's girlfriend? I started imagining myself as Caleb's girlfriend. After snapping out of my fantasy, I touched my cheeks. I was smiling. It suddenly dawned on me. The feelings I had for Caleb were the kind you have for a lover. I sprinted in the direction Caleb had just left. An absolute idiot, Finn said, shaking his head as he played his game. This dorm would fall apart without me. I ran along the main road and finally saw Caleb at the convenience store. His shadow was long under the streetlight. Caleb. I started yelling from a distance. Caleb. I ran towards him. Caleb heard me. He straightened up and looked in my direction. Caleb. I finally caught up to him, panting from the exertion. Don't go with her. Don't get treated by her. My useless tears started falling again. But Caleb wasn't so easily swayed this time. He wanted to know why. Leo, he began. Because I like you. I clutched his shirt, sobbing. Not like a friend like, but like a lover like. Caleb finally got the answer he wanted. He let out a sigh of relief and pulled me into his arms, gently comforting me. Didn't I tell you a long time ago? I like you too, Leo. I looked up at him pitifully and asked the question I couldn't ask that night. Is your like for me as much as my like for you? Caleb paused. I'm sorry, Leo. It's my fault. I wasn't clear. He wiped my tears away and looked into my eyes as if making a vow. Caleb's like for Leo is even more than Leo's like for Caleb. I love you, Leo. Caleb kissed my lips. Far away, Mia, who had just bought ice cream, witnessed the romantic scene and said with emotion, the cousin finally succeeded. After taking a few photos from different angles, she sent a satisfied text to her boyfriend. Add a chicken leg to my dinner tonight. You got it. Thanks, babe. In the distant dorm, Finn grinned happily. And that's the end of the story. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support me.